All right. So welcome, everybody. It's our Tuesday night team huddle. I'm Melissa Gratz, one of your Superstar directors, along with Shelly Sharp, who just hopped on. And we are so excited that you're here with us tonight. We have consultants that have been with Scentsy for going on 13 years that are on this Zoom. And we have a consultant who just received her starter kit today who is on this Zoom. And so we have a wide range of consultants and their tenure with Scentsy, which is awesome. And tonight this is going to be fun. We want to tell you a couple things. Well, we're going to take you back just a little bit. And I'm going to let Shelly introduce it. This was her brainchild that she had. And so I'm going to turn it over to her really quick. And then I started the recording. Shelly, I was going to tell you the funniest thing. But I'll call you after.
Well, now everybody's going to want to know.
Oh, Mom accidentally shared something on her story on Facebook for the first time. No, you guys, our mom is not, she doesn't use Facebook. So I get this notification on my phone. Linda Gratz just posted a photo to her story, and it's her foot. And Stephanie Higgins texted me and said, I don't think your mom realizes she just posted her bunions on Facebook. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dying laughing. So
for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, or you tune in every week, or you're pushing play on the recording, you just never know what you're going to get. Whether you show up live for the pre-recording or we hit recording, you just never know.
You never know. You never know. You also, if you don't know, Shelly and I are sisters, and so so there's that. And we sent
Tuesday night at 9:15. This has been a training call since 2009.
Yeah,
so we've been doing 11 years on Tuesday night at 9:15, with an exception of holidays, Scentsy-cations, and training weeks. We have met every Tuesday night for 11 years.
Yes, we have.
I can't believe, for at least 11 years. Yeah. You started this call in 2009, right?
Yeah, and it was only a conference call, so none of us could see each other.
Yeah, it was a conference call.
Voices.
You'd have to punch in all the numbers.
And that's back when we had a consultant. His name was Mel. He was an older gentleman who sold Scentsy.
That's right.
He was a funeral director with no sense of smell. And he sold Scentsy and was good at it. And
and he would get on the call, and you know, we are so privileged that we get to see everybody's faces and what they're doing, and you can raise your hand. You didn't know. So it was kind of like everybody's sitting on the phone. I didn't even know that I had a speakerphone. I didn't have a speakerphone.
No, so, you were on your flip phone.
And in 2009, when we would call in for director calls to hear Orville talk, you had to be live. There was no recording of the Scentsy director calls. It was 11 p.m. because that was Eastern 9 p.m. So he could put his kids to bed, and then he'd get on a call on Monday nights. And if you as a director wanted to hear Orville's message for the week, we would have to dial in live at 11 p.m. Eastern time. I can't tell you how many nights, because I had little kids. I can't tell you how many nights I'd fall asleep and wake up and be like, oh, is the call over? So we have come a long way. I was thinking about this. Many of you know us and you see us all the time, or some of you might be tuning into the recording and pushing play. And I just wanted to go down some memory lane with you guys of Scentsy before what we know today. You know, we didn't Disney partnership. I mean, like, let's just celebrate for a minute all the amazing things. I had it on my desk. Let's see if you've seen it. Where's that little? Here it is. I knew I had it set aside. So everybody's seen this crazy graphic, right? It's so in the year of 2019, we had 10 million, our first $10 million sales day. We partnered with Marvel and Star Wars and had even more Disney magic launched, including warmers, that when Disney partnership first happened, they weren't even going to let us do warmers. They were just going to give us the rights to have Disney characters and buddies. 100% approved by Disney. We had 98,851 new consultants join. 5,343,713 pounds of Scentsy bar wax sold. $1.1 million donated to global charities. There's all kinds of other good stuff on here. 3.4 million social media interactions, 42 ways to fill your life with fragrance in 2019. And I was thinking about when I first was introduced to Scentsy, it was 2007, and the only thing that was available was a warmer and wax. And are you ready for this? When I wanted to smell the testers, this is what the testers looked like.
Well, and Shelly,
and it still smells.
So wait, backing up just a smidge before that.
No, this is 2007. I started 2007.
Right, but before this is how the wax was packaged. Yeah. So it was saran wrapped in these blocks. So let me see. They were saran wrapped in these blocks. Yeah. And this beauty right here was the first warmer offered by Scentsy.
But that's 2004. So if we went back to history of 2004, that's your first warmer that Colette and Kira started the company with.
And this is before Scentsy manufactured our own products. They purchased this from a company. And so the warmers were not even produced by Scentsy at that point.
And they would use the Tupperwares, and we have pictures we can post too, but they use the containers of like the jewelry containers, and this would fit. They'd pour the wax out of a pitcher, and that would be your chunk of wax. Yep. And yes, they would put the entire thing in the warmer.
And so it was up to you to break it apart.
Or use the whole thing, because if you talk to people who've been around. So when I first was introduced to Scentsy, it was 2007. I had an embellish warmer and clove and cinnamon wax, and perfectly, because I thought I'd like that. It was too strong. Perfectly pomegranate was the first scent. And Melissa came to my house, and she walked in the house, and she's like, "What smells so good?" Oh, it's a Scentsy warmer thing that I bought from a friend of mine. Oh, really? Okay. We left, and she asked, "Well, don't you need to turn off that thing?" I said, "No, you can leave it on all the time." And I had I had a decent sized home, and I only had one warmer going, and we'd come back and we could smell it. And she said, "Oh, I'm going to need 2 of those for my apartment."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Shelly put me in touch with her consultant, and I was going to buy at that time the Perfect Scentsy, which was $75. And she said for $25 more, you could start your own business in Michigan and be a Scentsy consultant. And I was like, no idea what I'm going to do with this, but sounds good to me. And
so in 2008, when she was at my house and smelled my warmer in my kitchen, I didn't have a cell phone. We really didn't get on the internet and do things. So if you put yourself back, it sounds so ancient, right? She joined. I didn't even know she joined. I really didn't know that she decided to sell Scentsy. So, and we share this story just because it's the humble beginnings of our group for us as we know it. And Andrea was unable to get on here, but she's our upline superstar director that introduced Scentsy to my friend that sold me that first warmer. So I watched Melissa build her business, and a year later decided to join. And this came up in conversation just yesterday. I joined just because Melissa lived in Michigan and I lived in Indiana, and I was tired of running out of wax. Now remember, the only
and your friends were all ordering from me.
From Melissa, and she was shipping it to me, and I was delivering it to my neighbors and my girlfriends at the Bunko and Playdates. So I was like, well, this is getting kind of crazy. What if I just could order? I wouldn't have to keep bugging her, because we didn't have internet that we were using like we do today, and I didn't have a cell phone. So for me to call her, I had to wait till she got home, and I would get a hold of her and say, okay, here's our order, and I would give it to her over the phone. And gosh knows what the workstation looked like or what you were ordering. I don't even think we had a website. When you think about it, So I decide, well, this is crazy. After a year of doing this, I just want to order for myself, and I just want a discount, and I just want to be able to get my friends their wax. And then I started getting a paper paycheck in the mailbox.
Yeah.
And I remember opening my first paycheck. I had quit my job when my baby was like 3 months old, and he was 4 or 5 at 9. Okay, so he was 4 at the time. And I remember getting that paper check. It was the first time I had gotten paid in 4 years. So I was like, I earned money. Like, it was beyond my, like, I was like, oh, and it was made out to me. And I was like, I earned money and I get a discount. But I didn't even join to like make money. I really just joined out of convenience. And the reason this is really important and why I thought to share it with you guys tonight is it is 2020. I just read you a card full of accomplishments. Our company is still young and Scentsy is still new to people, but it's also something that people recognize now. I had a conversation today. I was leaving a meeting and somebody said, oh, so what do you do that you work with women around the world? And I said, oh, I sell Scentsy. I'm a Scentsy consultant and I collaborate with other women and we build our businesses together. And he's like, well, isn't that cool that you get to do that with people all over the country and all over the world? And I'm like, yeah. And Scentsy, right? That's the stuff that smells good. And I'm like, yeah, the warmers and the wax. He's like, I think my wife has some of that. It's recognizable, but it's still really new. And every one of you that are listening to this, whether you signed up like I did so that you could place your own orders or get a discount, or you were looking for a travel club or a friend group or a way to earn some money to donate or do something different, you all know someone that could benefit from all of this, right? Yeah. Yeah. So did you guys, I show you the bar, what it looked like? There were 6 cubes. And this, of course, I saved because it's my favorite. Snowberry has been around all this time and it still smells like snowberry. Not like a brand new bar, but it still smells like snowberry. So, Melissa, I had gone into a director share page and I asked people, I said, Scentsy before smartphones, Facebook, and pay portals. I'm celebrating 11 years this month and I'm reminiscing over paychecks sent in the mail, large testers. And yes, when I tracked for my first trip, I didn't know this is why I was joining Scentsy, but accidentally I found out about this trip to Hawaii and I accidentally worked my way to director and a trip for 2 to Hawaii. We did do our trip tracker in pencil. It was not an incentive tab. There was nothing that formulated it. I would sit every single day with my pencil and my calculator and calculate my trip points. So I asked some other directors that had been around, and let me see if I can do this kind of in chronicle order. 2005, this consultant started. She said they had glass baby food jars for party testers, rectangle block bars wrapped in plastic wrap. Her starter kit was $300, and getting your order before Christmas was a big gamble. Also, her first catalog from winter 2005 sold out and couldn't get any more for the rest of the season. End of month orders, and took hours to submit. Somebody posted 15-minute plugin or $15 plugins. We did not have, what year were plugins started, Melissa? Was that like 10 or 11?
Probably 2010.
10 is when we got to see the first new product that we got. Maybe we had full size and mid size maybe. And the full size warmers, weren't they $25? I feel like we had $25. We had one warmer. It was one warmer, one bar wax. It was so simple back then, right? We only had one size, full-size warmers. And then later we had plugins is what we called them. Car candles. That's our scent circle. And room sprays. That's all that there was.
This is awesome.
Someone else posted.
So
when she lived, oh, go ahead, Melissa.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Huge heavy testers, and it took a month or more to get your starter kit. And oh yeah. So before we had Facebook, they had like some forum. It was some internet website you could go to that was a Scentsy forum. I don't even I remember people talking about it, but I don't even think I was smart enough to figure out how to get to it or where to find it. But you wouldn't have a Facebook group to go to. You had a forum that was a website. And people would make mini testers by melting their giant ones. Oh, and then we had the launch of Grace Adele and Layers and Volata. And of course, we had bricks. At one time, you used to get a brick of the scent of the month instead of all the bars. It was a brick, a room spray. So you didn't get bars. You would get one brick of that scent. So what else were you going to say, Melissa? That's all I got.
I wanted to know, this has been on my mind lately, is because we used to get paper checks. It was on my mind lately to see if I still had the check stubs.
Did you look?
I just found them. So my first check was Scentsy, $85. $85. My second month was Scentsy. My check was $373. So I was like, hey, that's a really good raise month over month. And then, so let's see, by the end of the year in 2008, so end of my first year, let's see if I have, where would it be? So end of first year, let's see if I have it. I was so organized in the very beginning. What happened? Oh, how are we running out of time already? Time flies. But I just found, so in my first year, so I found a couple checks. So they were around the 400 mark, pretty much for 2008. And I found my 1099 for 2009. So that was 1 year later. And my 1099 was $23,000 from Scentsy 1 year later. So
yeah, I think that when I made $24,000 with Scentsy, I was like, I arrived! Like, that was the biggest deal because I was like, oh my gosh, I have 2 little kids at home, and we were getting paper checks.
Yep. Yeah. So, but you know what? So I think the coolest part of it is to be able to look back at it, and you'll feel this way no matter how long you're in Scentsy. The points along your journey that are memorable to you, that stick out to you, that end up meaning something to you, things that you can look back on and know, like Shelly said, when we started this business, it really was one person at a time building this business. We didn't have Facebook to post. We didn't have Instagram and social media. We weren't as connected as a world. We did have the internet. We were using email, but gosh, it makes it sound like we're so ancient, and we're talking about the 2000s.
It was.
But
I had a pink flip phone. That pink flip phone I posted, that's how I ran my business. I didn't know how to text because I didn't even think I had that on my service.
And so I think a lot of times we talk about how the one thing that really hasn't changed is that it's one person at a time. It's one sale at a time. It's one conversation at a time. It's people used to ask me, you keep going, like, what keeps you going? And my answer to that is, I've worked really hard to build customers, and I've worked really hard to build relationships with people that if I quit, what will quitting do for me? Like, I have to be better off continuing on this journey than if I throw everything that I've done to the wind. And so that kind of was my mentality as I was building the business. And it happened one person at a time, one customer at a time, one sale of one warmer at a time, one product launch at a time, one catalog where I got excited, one thing at a time. And a lot of times I think that we get very wrapped up in trying to do everything and trying to duplicate what everybody's doing and trying to I still feel this way. I look at what people are doing with Scentsy and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do it her way and I need to do this and I need to do that. And I'm like, wait a second. No, I built my business doing it Melissa's way. I built my business being comfortable and doing what yeah, we have to step outside of our comfort zone, especially when you are past that point of selling to people in your warm circle, right? When you have tapped out, right? We use that word. We've tapped out our friends and family, and now what? And that's where a lot of us feel like we hit a brick wall, and it's those that climb over that wall that, I look at the faces on this Zoom, and I bet if we took an average of how long they've been a consultant, who just posted, was it Stets that just posted that she's going to be, her 10 years this month. Like 10 years with something. That's amazing. It's amazing. Annette, what are you going to say?
Today's my 4-year anniversary, and I was reminiscing because yesterday it popped up from the different world tours, and when I joined the day of world tour as an invitee. I met the owners of the company. I ended up winning the door prize thing or whatever, and I got both sets of full testers. I was super excited, so I was actually writing down my numbers from when I very first started, comparing all my Januaries, and it's amazing in that 4 years where I've come, and the fact that sometimes in your business you have to go back to the basics. And as starting out, when I did my launch party, I had $1,000. I had three parties that I submitted, and it totaled $1,500. And the nice thing is that you just have to go back to your basics and write that whole list of 100 multiple times, because you never know who you've met. You can keep changing that and then focusing on that. So for those of you people that have only been here for a short period of time, all your hard work does pay off. You do have to work.
Yeah. But you know what? But you have to keep it fun. You have to keep it enjoyable, and you have to do it with other people. Right. You have to, because that's what this community helps keep us together. The community of being able to lean on each other and share ideas and get, because we have collectively 50 years of experience here. If we add everybody's time together in Scentsy, Jackie's celebrating 6 years. Nicole's celebrated 9 years. Andrea's up heading to 10 years. Annette, I can't believe it's only been 4. I feel like we've been doing this together forever.
And when I go through to, Debbie did a collage today. I haven't done mine yet because I've been reflecting on everything. There are so many pictures I want to include. Now, usually they're mostly me with crazy glasses or headbands or being so serious, but I finally got my picture with you, Melissa, and she included that in the collage. It's just the thing that I look back, if someone asked me today, what is it that you got from Scentsy aside from money to pay my cancer bills, in addition to doing fun things with my son or just my plain old fun money? It's the friendships. It's knowing that I could go to World Tour and room with 3 people that, like Wendy and I have been accountability partners twice. It was totally meant to be. And the fact of the matter is, she thought I was crazy because I sat in front of her my very first World Tour, and I just made her laugh. So it's interesting how you can meet different people. Like, I remember the World Tour, I met Jennifer Carrier, and she was just a brand new consultant. And knowing that, oh yeah, I remember that time with Becker at Coyote Ugly. All the different things that you can, if you had to sit there and say, if you could describe me in one word, what would it be? And you think about when people do that, you leave that lasting impression that you're sincere, you're sunshine, whatever, is leaving that, because you leave that with your customers too.
Yeah. And I have to tell you that mine and Shelly's, one of our most favorite mottos is, you are in this business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that is probably our most favorite thing. And all of you that know us and know our group culture, you're nodding, because that is what we are about. We are about lifting each other up, helping each other. We are all about being in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. And I think that's an excellent way to sum up this little teeny tiny walk down memory lane tonight. Because you know what? It's really, really cool to see where we started, how far we've come, and it causes you to reflect on your own journeys. You know, if you've been in for 2 years and, you know, you're earning a top 150 trip, Jillian, has it even been 2 years? 2 years, maybe, right? 2 years. You know, you've been in for 10 years and you've earned an incentive trip and you go to convention, or you've made your best friend because of Scentsy, and we all have this common denominator and this common foundation, and we have this community culture that we've built that we're so proud of. And
you
so,
just don't know where it's going to take you. You don't.
Don't.
And looking back, you think, that's why I met that person, or that's why that person was on my path. And that was some of the first advice. So when Melissa was starting her business,
you have less than a minute. You have less than a minute.
Colette was her director, and Colette said to her, just give this 1 year, give it everything you've got for 1 year. And I've always lived by that, you know, straight from Colette. And even to this day, our upline founder is so humble and works this business. And that's the thing. The leaders at the top work this business, and everybody's passionate about each other's success.
Yes.
So you guys.
Perfect.
Yay! Have a great week, and we'll start talking new catalog next week. But I just wanted to reminisce and tell you guys a little bit of fun.
Yay!
Scentsy history.
Bye, you guys. See you next Tuesday.